They may look primitive, but what these tiny creatures spin is the stuff of genius. And mankind owes them an extraordinary debt. The vital art of mass communication began with these insects. For millions of years, they've found ways to make information travel. Discover how and why this magic fiber speaks by letting the blue stars guide you. The animal kingdom is governed by one law only, the law of the jungle: kill or be killed. The equation is simple. Every creature has its own trick to survive. Take this predator from the Amazon rainforest. The vine snake has an eye for seemingly easy prey, like the ant grub. The ants, though, have a secret weapon. One to outsmart even the most determined of predators. A magical substance, a brilliant invention by the smallest of creatures to overcome the largest. Evolution has favored the most adaptable. Among others, insects and invertebrates endowed with this secret power. The dawn of the Tertiary era, 400 million years ago, and the dinosaurs have disappeared from the face of the Earth. Smaller species have survived ever since, many of them armed with this secret weapon: silk. Inside this stomach is a factory of glands that secrete liquid silk from proteins. Then, as the liquid emerges from weaving cones, it solidifies into a thread. Finer than a hair and 10 times stronger than steel. Silk comes in many different styles. Frizzy, which is ideal for thermal insulation, and elastic, to withstand shock. Dry silk for transmitting vibrations, and silk covered with sticky pearls to catch prey. No other substance has so many uses. Queen of the lace industry is the spider. Its geometric web is a great classic of the natural world, an intricate and precise patchwork of mesh that creates a deadly net. Webs have different shapes and sizes and are spun by weavers less well known than spiders. Each has its own function. But all these architectural wonders share one principal purpose: protection. Take the simplest of all prototypes, the abseiling rope. Fooled him. With the coast now clear, the geometric caterpillar can return to its chores. Braided silk is dark enough to cloak secrets and protect treasures. Under the lens of a microscope, the cocoon of silk is a tangled network of knots. Under such blanket protection, a metamorphosis can be a tranquil experience. The next most important use of silk is as a weapon to trap prey. The thread of life becomes a hangman's noose. But silk has a third, crucial and lesser known function. It's a tool of communication in two senses: transport and exchange. The high wire is a welcome shortcut across the void. And when two acrobats meet, they exchange information essential for the survival of the species. Exchange creates social links. It builds communities where silk may be used collectively. And this is the spark. Each one for himself, but silk for all. Now that's intelligent. Take the ingenious cave-dwelling glowworm living at the bottom of dark caves in Tasmania. It survives thanks to a treasure trove of crystal traps. These larvae sport blue lanterns at the tip of their bodies. Glowworms live in colonies, and under each one hangs a precious pendulum of pearls. Up close, there's nothing magical about these jewels. They're viscous silk threads, which the worm produces for a strategic reason. They're only found in these damp caves, visited from time to time by passing midges. Their first task is to build a hammock and to cover themselves with mucus to stay hydrated. Secure in their harness, the worms begin secreting sticky fishing lines. The blue light mirrored on these pearls is scintillating, and the midges can't resist. It's the same effect as light reflected off the surface of optical fiber. The combination of light and silk sends a misleading message to the midges. They fly blindly into this starry, deadly night. This glowworm may have waited weeks for a bite. Now, vibrations on its web signal a catch. Once fed, the larva has the strength to begin metamorphosing into a fly. Its sole vocation now is to reproduce, if it succeeds, that is, in escaping this forest of glue. Every worm ardently defends its own patch. Paradoxically, this territorial instinct is a form of cooperation. By shoving each other aside, the worms ensure that every inch of their hunting ground is covered, and the entire cave is bathed in the alluring light of silk. But silk is also used by larvae that live in daylight, not for hunting this time, but for protection. Life in the open air, where the leaves are sweet, carries great risks. The owl may not pose any threat at night, but the morning will bring many predators. If you're a caterpillar, cover is vital. Take the archip, let's call him a tailor, and the malacosoma, an insatiable glutton. Tailors shuttle back and forth using the elastic quality of the silk to knit the leaves together. The moist air makes the thread retract, and bingo! Let's batten down the hatches. The gluttons have a different approach. Their building blocks are branches, perfect foundations on which to weave thick layers of silk into a mighty citadel, safe from bad weather and hungry birds. This is all done with maximum efficiency and minimum energy, until the fortress is impregnable. The tailor's silk is not only elastic, it is also perfumed. The perfume of their own chemical pheromones, which they impregnate into the silk, and they alone can smell. These caterpillars have little in the way of social organization. It's the pheromones which act as a powerful magnet for others to follow and reinforce. Social life hangs by a thread. The perfume trail makes them inseparable and stops them from getting lost. The gluttons also leave a trail of pheromones on the thread. It leads the clan to food. After several hours, They've stripped a branch bare, but they're still famished. Heads move about anxiously, looking for more. But where? Someone must venture out, off the beaten track. The lone scout finally finds another well-stocked branch and fills his heart's content, while the others bide their time. It then retraces its steps and generously deposits pheromones to attract the others and put them out of their misery. As soon as the scent is picked up, they're off and running along the treasure trail. No need for leaders among tailors or gluttons, they just follow their nose. And to prove it, these pheromones were created artificially. Point taken. Perfumed thread is the ultimate guide because it allows one individual to show the rest of the group the way forward. Man has modeled transport automation and traffic control on such a system. Computer software is now based on the principle of collective tracks. Ace drivers are to be found among the tiniest of creatures in nature. European mites, for instance, live in a megalopolis. Traffic is hell. Here are town walls built around a gorse bush. A raindrop crashes like a bomb on these insects no bigger than a speck of dust. Fragile as it may seem, the silk holds. The fibers shrink like a woolly sweater in the wash and form a tight, impermeable skin. Woe betide anyone who gets caught in the wringer. The roof is now watertight and will keep the colony dry in the next downpour. It's business as usual for the restless mites, but why are they always on the move? They're constantly reinforcing their citadel. Each mite will make hundreds of excursions around the nest every day. Multiply that by thousands in the colony, and you get a vast network that links and covers all the thorns inside the gorse bush. For a mite, a single thorn is equivalent to a 20-story building. It's quite a task, hence the need for suspension bridges between thorns to shorten the journey. Mites have bristle-like hairs attached to tactile receptors. They must tap their way about like the blind through the labyrinth of their world. Endless building and patching is the only way to prevent the enemy from getting in. The ladybird adores mites, and its larva prizes them even more. But making a dent in the mite's armor is not easy. Before long, the ladybird's larva gives up, making do with a few eggs on the way out. Sometimes the enemy lurks within. This spider actually lives inside the colony, inside the larder, you might say. Mites feed by sucking the sap of the gorse. They have one objective: to colonize the plant completely and breed inside it on a massive scale. Switching points, like the points of a railway, lead to different parts of the bush. And collecting cones channel the masses to the best shortcuts. Computer scientists have studied these structures to speed up commercial transportation. The challenge is to find the shortest routes between all these points. Virtual mites are programmed into the software to explore alternatives. The thicker the trail, the shorter the route. A single mite would not have found the answer. Silk lights the way. As the colony swells, the plant inevitably becomes exhausted. It's time to move on. In the crush, many are pushed out of the nest, forming a train of mites which heads for fresh pasture. The train pulls into the station, promising a new lease of life for survivors. Some convoys don't make it. This is a death train of adult mites mummified inside their own silky tomb. But the eggs are shielded from bad weather and predators. The dead protect the living. Silk is a tool used by the most highly organized societies. The Australian green ant is up there with the greatest craftsmen. They've developed an amazing system to stay out of harm's way. The queen ant is escorted to the site of her new home. Work begins on a colossal scale. Linkers start by pinching and pulling the leaves together. A combined force of thousands of ants pulls several kilos of leaf into place. Bridges are built to draw the whole colony to the nest. The walls of the palace close in on Her Majesty, and beautiful black winged males await her in the bridal suite. Larvae are fetched from the old nest. Their silk will not be used to weave cocoons, but to build the new home. While linkers clamp the leaves firmly in place, seamstresses wield the larvae like knitting needles to glue the edges together. The ant applies light pressure with its mandibles to release a drop of glue from the larva, and its antenna will guide it around the building site. But these precious larvae must be protected from all manner of external threats while building goes on. Guards are on high alert. The leafy masterpiece is complete, an impenetrable hiding place in the trees. Other large silk producers share the same territory as the Australian green ant. They live inside silk tunnels on the rock face to protect themselves from their neighbors because they've always been at war with the green ant. They're called web spinners. Web spinners feed off the lichen on the rocks, but there's no question of munching in the open. Their web extends from the central nest out to wherever the lichen is found. Some web spinners prefer to settle in humus, rich patches of dead vegetation, or under stumps. Unlike ants, they don't mind whether they live together or apart. In any case, one man's tunnel becomes common ground once it's connected to the network, but each remains independent. The web spinner's feet are pockets of silk glands. Its bristles spin thread at an astonishing rate. Subterranean web spinners never get their feet wet. Nor do their cousins on the rocks outside. The silk is waterproof. Web spinners live in fear of the green ant because he's expert at trench warfare. A breach in the network is detected. Help is round the corner. But the trespasser is already on the warpath. The fugitive web spinner sounds the alarm. The tunnel vibrates as he races through. The others move quickly to safety, but this one must pay the price. At least the message got through the tunnel of silk, a time-honored information highway. And so it is with the sound waves of modern telecommunications. Telecommunication is as old as the hills in Africa. This tree trunk is inhabited by a species of ant that's rarely seen. They dig galleries under the bark without ever venturing outside. Every crack is filled in to avoid contact with the outside world. The workers produce silk from a gland between their mandibles. Their legs work like combs to spread the thread. For these ants too, silk is the all-purpose thread of life. Blended with sawdust, it provides a perfect mortar to plaster up the galleries. Pure silk helps to gather together midges for their nourishing wax. But how do they locate them in the dark? We must return to the sweet scent of pheromones. The combination of silk and pheromones may help the ants find their way about. Some galleries are entirely covered in silk, and like blotting paper, it's probably saturated with pheromones. Taking their cue from the ants, scientists have introduced virtual insects into telephone networks and the internet. These digital pathfinders have proved to be real jam busters by freeing up traffic flows along our information highways. Parcels of information are directed onto the fast lane. The idea is simple. Virtual ants leave a thick trail to signal free-flowing traffic and a lighter one where the traffic is slow. and supply the same system, except in their case the pathfinder is chemical, a pheromone. The shortest route is not necessarily the quickest one. It's worth a few detours to get there earlier. Man has adapted the principle of pheromone paths to information flows through the internet. Digital insects are marching us towards the superweb of the third millennium. The stakes are higher in nature, where weaver animals depend on the magic of silk for their very physical survival. In the Amazon, the social spider and Camponotus ant are tricksters of the highest order. Both are disturbed by an intruder. A shriveled bunch of leaves suspended in the canopy is home to the Camponotus ant. Sentries are on constant alert, and the enemy this time is disguised as a vine. The sentries are wise to it. Hundreds of them drum their bellies against the nest, a warning for those inside. This canvas of leaves serves both as bush phone and shelter. So how are vibrations transmitted inside the nest? The answer, as always, is silk. Like the Australian green ant, the Camponotus ant uses larvae to produce it. The silk is fortified with dead leaves, making it suitably rigid for shelter as well as percussion. The tropics are home to a seemingly infinite variety of species and behavior. This spider, smaller than a chickpea, is a master builder, a webmaster if you like. It's responsible for this. A bastion of silk measuring 20 cubic meters. All the more to trap large prey, and a lot of it. The webmaster spiders have earned a reputation as the most skilled and deadly weavers on the planet. In every way, they're exceptional, not least because they live together, whereas most spiders are confirmed loners. Spiders are by nature territorial and carnivorous. Even their own kin is potential prey. They're cannibals. That's a good enough reason to live alone. So why do webmasters put up with each other? It's partly to do with climate. In the tropics, food is plentiful. There's less competition. Fewer temptations, therefore, to devour your own family. In any case, given the size of potential prey in these parts, it's easier to hunt in packs. Strength in numbers. And the webmaster has the strength to take on some pretty big game. The hummingbird is a particularly impressive catch. It's a cheeky bird that likes to steal the spider's silk to string its own nest. But this can be hazardous. Even if the hummingbird hovers with mathematical precision, it always risks falling into the trap. It's extremely rare to see spiders living like this together, tolerating each other and sharing so much. A mother, for instance, will look after another's cocoon just as much as her own. It doesn't seem to matter. For cooperation, read indifference. They just get on with the job. Work is everybody's business. In the evening, our webmasters set to work, patching up and extending the deadly trap that is their home. In a few hours, they'll produce several hundred meters of thread. There's no chief architect in this artistic endeavor, no consultation. Each is guided only by the existing structure of the web, its density, and its tautness. The result is an infinitely expandable scaffolding. Laboratory studies testified to the collective genius of the webmasters. They fill in the gaps with thread here or there, strengthening the main strands and without the big picture in mind. One picks up where the other leaves off. At dawn, the trap is set. When the sun dries off the dew, the web will be practically invisible. It's now ready to host some important visitors. Could this monster become prey for these minute spiders? In the event, this vine snake has nothing to fear. Its skin is like a coat of mail, and its sinewy movements don't alert the voracious hordes inside. The cricket is less lucky. Its awkward gait will soon be detected. The hordes are up and running, but the prey must be immobilized quickly. They bite into its joints and inject a paralyzing venom. Within a few hours, the venom will also dissolve the cricket's internal tissues, and the spiders will suck them dry. Also in the webmaster's arsenal is a sticky jet of silk which they spit onto more energetic prey like this wasp. Social spiders are, of course, very house-proud. Any rubbish that clutters up the web must be thrown out. When it comes to heavier loads, the spiders work together. One pulls a little harder, and the others just follow. They're so short-sighted they must feel vibrations on the web to locate their prey. But how do they distinguish between their own movements and those of their hapless victim? The spiders move in fits and starts, pausing in perfect sync to listen. This synchronization of movement is unique in the entire animal kingdom, a highly evolved system of communication. So much so that scientists looked at the spider's web to improve the internet. Software behind our very own telecommunication networks mirrors closely the structure of the webmaster's cathedral of silk. Animal societies have taught us one essential lesson. Simple individual action can lead to collective intelligence. Applied to robotics and information technology, their strategies produce flexible and reactive systems. If cyberspace is to be mastered much further, Future networks must be organized independent of ourselves. Who would have thought that such little creatures would take us so far? And look, their blue stars are invading your TV screen.